So when you ask someone a question, they won't feel as offended. They kind of take it as you just ask them a question rather than you say a statement. They won't often take it the wrong way.
Yes, it is possible that they could take it the wrong way, and we talked about the idea of statements being more likely to cause an emotional hijack. Questions being something that engages the rational brain and often can be seen as less threatening. This is a general rule, and I ask you to think about that, and I actually asked you to do some work on that in the self-reflection worksheets, because this is not a hard and fast rule, but I just want you to understand the concept that Orlando outlined for us. All right. We also talked about this idea of intention versus impact. This is a key concept in emotional intelligence. Fatih, can you break that down for us, remind us what the important thing was there? This is key. Key to emotion. Like I mentioned, I use this all the time. Orlando.
I believe we spoke about how people only see the impact and they don't see the intention or what you're intending to do.
Yes.
So the only thing they remember is like the end result.
Okay,
Which
yes. So you knock on someone's door, initiate a conversation, they see the impact of that. They don't see your intention. Maybe your intention was to help them improve the quality of their team.
Yeah.
Maybe your intention was to mentor them somehow. They only see the impact, which maybe they felt like their job was being threatened. Now, we also talked about this idea that we tend to judge ourselves based on our intentions, and we tend to judge other people based on their impact. And that is a big problem. When we're walking around judging people based on their impact, they're walking around judging themselves based on their intention. That's conflict right there. I mentioned to you all the person who initially taught me emotional intelligence said, "This is the source of evil as we know it." This sort of lack of understanding, lack of worldview, differing worldviews. Some people judge themselves based on their intentions, we judge them based on their impact. So people who have good intentions are judged by us based on their impact. So this is the source of so many problems, personal, professional, family. And of course, once we realize that, we can use our good EQ skills to drill down on that and resolve that conflict. Okay, so we are ready to start some interactive exercises. We'll come back to, we need at least one more person before we start the replication game. Let's start with status card game. This will help us read social cues and understand the signals that other people are sending us. Alright, has anyone ever played this before? You put a card on your forehead and you can't see it, but everyone else can? Alright, so how this is going to work, I'm going to give you all a card. You're going to put it on your forehead, without looking at it, you're going to put it on your forehead. Everyone else can see it, but you can't. You are going to interact with each other, and you are going to treat them according to their status. So, if I'm a jack, and someone else is a 9, this is fairly high, right? So you're going to treat me as if I'm fairly high status. I'm not the highest status, but it could be like a king or an ace, something higher. And at the end of a couple minutes of treating people according to their status, you're going to see if you're able to read those cues and align yourself according to status. Make sense? Alright. Oh, we've got enough for our replication game if we start with it. Let's start with this. Alright, and we will mingle in this area up here. So everyone come up and get a card. Go ahead and you can set your stuff down. Get settled for a minute. Alright. Alright, don't look at it, just put it on your forehead. Don't look at it, just put it on your forehead. Okay, alright, so ace is high, 2 is low. So talk to each other, say hello, ask them how their day was. treat the person based on their status. If they have really high status, then treat them as you would treat a high status person. If they have really low status, treat them as you would treat a low status person. Okay, so take a couple minutes to treat each other based on the status that you see in them.
How you doing? Yeah, good, Your Highness.
Yeah, so.
How are you doing?
Hanging out.
Hi.
You should take your glasses off.
Why? Oh, man. How you doing? Good conversation.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, hello.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's really
hello,
nice
welcome.
to meet you. Is there anything that you would like?
How's
Yeah,
that?
how you been? How's the family?
He broke it down, because that's what he explained it.
Okay, yeah, so the higher status people, you want to talk to them because they're higher status. Maybe you want to like be their friends. Lower status people, however, would you treat a lower status person? We can be real with that. All right, just keep going.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? Let's stop now. So what I want you to do for right now is I want you to line up according to your status. I want low status here and I want high status here.
I'm definitely wrong.
Based on the way people were treating you. Low status here, high status here.
No one wants to talk to me?
Low status here, high status here. All right, we lined up, we're good? We're good? We're good? Okay, take a look at your card. Let's see what we got here. All right, so we got the two high status people.
That's interesting.
Good here. All right, we have very inflated egos here. All right, we have a very low confidence here, right? All right, and what do we got going on here? Why do you think you're the lowest status?
Because no one was talking to me, except for.
I did talk to
Yeah, I mean, but it's two out of
I
like
just
seven.
ignored her,
I was told to take off my glasses,
Oh.
so
Someone, you'd only tell that to a low status
I
person?
believe so.
Okay. And you two, how did you know you were high status?
because he said, "Hi, Your Highness" to him, but then he spoke to me. And
Oh.
then I was looking at him, but he didn't really speak to me. But I thought I was between them two.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you knew he was high status and you knew he also thought you were high status. Okay. And what happened here, David? Why are you?
He said hi and that was good talking to him, and then he walked away.
And you moved on to one of these two?
Yeah, no one else talked to me.
Okay, so we have a high status person who was overshadowed by the slightly higher status people. Okay, great. So give me your cards. Let's try it again, just the exact same way. Now that you have a better understanding. All right. Okay. So take the card. Don't look at it. Put it on your forehead. And go ahead and interact the way based
Hi, how's it
on
going?
the whatever.
Oh, man.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Good, good.
How was your day?
My day was fine, how was your day? Okay, okay.
Oh, hey, how's it going, guys?
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well, yeah.
Good.
Again?
Alright.
Yeah.
How are you?
Oh, hi.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
It's nice to meet you.
Really nice to meet you too.
That's what we were talking about,
Yeah.
so,
You can talk about whatever you want, Letitia.
Hey, how are you? Good?
Good,
How are you?
You can walk around a little bit if you want. If you want to go hang out with, whoever you want to hang out with, you can sort of mingle a little bit. You don't have to stand in the circle.
why you walking away?
I want to hang out with you only, that's why.
Here.
Hi.
Get away from me.
We can hang out with.
We can hang out with her.
We can hang out with her.
Yeah,
Oh.
just you.
Okay, good. Okay, okay, good. Go ahead.
Strong.
Go ahead and line up. Low status over here, high status over here. Okay, go ahead and look at your cards.
Oh.
Okay.
I don't know,
Alright.
mixed signals coming.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff going on. I think you gave Maxine a strong cue when you said, well, hang out with you and just
Yeah.
you.
Man.
What happened before that? Any of your thoughts? Maxine, I feel like I saw you talking to Fati,
Mhm.
sort of engaged with him.
I think I engage with everyone actually.
But then I saw you kind of do a little bit of
Well-
closed off when you were talking to Fati.
No, I was talking to, I'm sorry,
David.
David, yeah, he made me feel kind of weird because he didn't want to engage when I was trying to engage with him.
Oh,
So
okay.
kind of
So maybe
felt drunk.
was that independent of his status?
I don't know, I think it was because of my status.
Oh, like he started acting weird because you
Yeah.
had high status?
Now, in retrospect,
Oh,
it seemed that way.
okay. Any thoughts on that, David?
I mean, I was just focusing on trying to find out what I was, because I knew she was high, so I was like trying to see, and she was talking to me, so I was like, no one else wanted to talk to me. Why is she trying to talk to me?
Okay.
So I was like, it confused me.
Well, that's an interesting point. So some weird dynamic that she was catching from you,
Yeah.
but all you were doing is trying to find out your status.
Yeah.
This is a good intentions versus impact moment. Good. Any other thoughts on, and you ended up kind of the same place you were last time, David. Ahead of these people, even though you have lower status.
Well, I was gonna be over there until she talked to me, and I was like, that threw me for a loop. I was like, why is she talking to me?
Okay, fantastic. Any other thoughts on this?
You're mean.
Jermaine. All right, well, good practice reading those social cues. We're gonna try this one more time, a slight different variation. I'm going to give you a card. You are going to look at it, put it in your pocket, and then act your steps. Does that make sense? And we're gonna do the same thing. We're going to try to guess where you are at the end of the session, and see if you can sort of read each other's social cues. So go ahead and continue interacting. Act based on the status that you were given. Act either low status or high status, and take a couple minutes acting that way with your classmates.
Hi, everyone. Hey. Promise you, take shots, man.
Hi guys, how's everything?
I'm doing well.
Hi.
Good. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Everything's fine? Could be better.
Hey.
Things could be better.
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing? I appreciate it.
So how are you doing?
Relaxing,
All right.
you know. Looking out here, you know.
No golfing.
How are you?
Oh.
Not much,
Okay.
You go golfing.
About that.
just hanging on, been there,
Hanging in there,
Yeah.
hanging on tight.
tight, real tight.
Yes, I do.
How about your family?
I can't see the same.
Oh.
Oh,
Interesting, cool.
Yeah.
How's your family?
That's good.
Good?
Yeah, that's fine.
You're fine.
Hey guys, did you go golfing?
Yeah,
today?
Came,
Trying
came to four in Columbus.
I went like 2 weeks ago.
You went about 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
You have a membership, maybe we could go golfing one day.
Oh, yeah.
Stole my question.
I can't afford it every year.
Oh,
Yeah.
Maybe next
Yeah.
year.
well, then I get that.
Okay, great. So go ahead and line up. Low status over here, high status over here.
High is it?
Low over by the door, high over by the computer. All right, we're good. We're good. All right, take out your card, show everybody, see if we got it right. Ace, that's that. Ooh, king. That's that. Three. Okay. Good. Interesting things here. So you thought these two were higher status than you, Maxine?
Not higher, but I figured they were high.
Okay.
I'm not sure about David, but yeah.
Okay.
I thought that Orlando was higher.
Yeah, the way he was acting.
I thought Letitia was higher too. Like she started out like,
Oh,
hi
yeah, yeah, yeah.
everybody, I'm
I
here.
thought
Well, I told-
because since I'm low, I should want to talk to everybody that's high.
I was depressed, that's why I didn't talk to
Yeah,
anyone.
I
So I couldn't afford to play golf with everybody, so I just stood to myself.
Good. All right, excellent. Any thoughts on how reading social cues in that exercise? Anything you learned, anything you can take away for how you're gonna read social cues in other interactions?
I mean, that's more of a comment. I mean, I think the social cues is more of a presumed thought, not so much how we would really act. I think it really depends on the individual, wouldn't you say?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, this is an artificial type environment where we're just trying to get some idea of how we would read social cues or what it means when we project certain social things. And I liked the interchange we had between you and David where you said, I thought he was acting weird, and he said, well, I was just trying to figure out what was going on. And I think that might be a key moment. We can look back and say, wow, that was, I misread that weirdness for some reason.
No, I thought it was he was high, he didn't want to talk to me, and I was low, and it was actually the other way around. That's why I kind
Yeah.
of closed up.
Fantastic. All right, great. Let's move on to the next exercise. This is a good communication exercise. It's called replication. First, I'm going to have you divide into groups. Why don't we have you four be a group and you three be a group. All right. What we're gonna do is I am going to take these objects, this pen, this sticky, this paper clip, this envelope. I'm going to arrange them in some sort of fashion. I'm gonna make a little artistic thing. And I'm gonna take it to the next room. And one person from your team is going to come and look at it and figure out what I've done with it. That person is going to explain it to someone who's going to be standing in the hallway and say, this is what it looks like, you put the pen here, you put the paperclip here, you put the sticky here. The person in the hallway is going to come in this room and try to give that information to the people in this room, the one or two people who are building this. The person in the hallway can say yes or no. That's all the person in the hallway can say. Does that make sense? Okay, so you're this group, you need one person to view the object, one person in the hallway, and one person to build the object. And you need two people to build the object, one person in the hallway, one person to view the object. Let's go ahead and decide who those people are.
Hallway.
I wanna build, I wanna build the object.
There you go.
I'll build
There you go, build it. Let's go with that.
Hallway.
Okay,
I think we're good.
good, alright, so who's the builder in this group?
me.
Okay, alright, so this is your stuff you're gonna build, and who are the two builders in this group? Okay, alright, so you two are gonna build, and who are the hallway people? What, you two?
Yeah.
You're on the same team, right?
Yeah.
Only one
There's only one
hallway.
hallway, only one hallway person, you're the hallway person.
Okay.
Okay, so when you talk to Maxine, you can say whatever you want, but when you come in here and talk to these two, you can only say yes or no. And who's the hallway person? Okay, when you talk to Letitia, you can only say yes or no.
Oh, you're
Okay.
the hallway person.
Alright, so hallway, everyone else, if you're not a builder, come out here.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's gonna.
I can't tell you now.
No, they come out and say no.
Yes. All I can do is tell you yes or no, y'all can't ask me.
Then they have to
You
like
can't ask me anything.
bring it back to us to
No,
tell us
no,
what's going on.
I can't bring nothing back to you. I'm just gonna tell you yes or no, you're gonna please stop and say yes or no.
So you place something down,
But
she
he
says
can
yes.
say yes or no. He could come to us to tell us what it is.
Who?
The other person.
No, you can't come in here. Only person that's gonna come and show us is the hallway people. So the person that's seen it is gonna describe it to the person in the hallway. The person in the hallway is gonna come to us and tell us yes or no. That's kinda hard. Cause say I describe it to you, oh, it looks like this, and then you come in here to tell me, we're building it from scratch, so I put this down, you say yes. Like, what goes first? I don't know.
Wait, who's deciding? This person in the hallway is saying?
Yes or no?
I
They
thought
only
that-
tell
How do they
us
know?
yes or no. Because the person that went into the room
Yeah.
is describing it to them.
But how would they know what it looks like? Oh, we don't know, right?
No, the
No, we're
person
not
in the
gonna know.
room,
She's saying we're not gonna know. I took
Oh.
away that, I thought it was like two different sets of people tell us.
he said he's gonna build it in the room, and then one person is
He's
gonna come
building
and look at it.
Oh, do we have to rebuild it?
Yeah, that's.
We're rebuilding with the, oh, okay, alright, okay.
Alright, the builders are on, or the hallway people are on the way, and they're gonna explain how to make this.
So they're allowed to talk
say
to us?
yes or no?
They can only say yes or no.
So we gotta try and figure out how to build it
Yes,
on our own.
by
Does
asking them,
replicate
by
what's.
asking them yes or no questions. Oh, and this is a race. The first team to get everything figured out gets to keep the pen and the envelope.
Okay.
Alright.
Am I too early?
Go for it.
No. Where do I start with, the paperclip?
I can answer that?
Yes
So you
or
can say
no?
yes or no.
No.
The envelope,
No.
the pen,
Yes.
okay. Is it straight or horizontal?
You might wanna talk softly so the other team doesn't hear you. You can go off into a corner.
I just not.
Think about this.
Do they know that they're allowed to come in while they're in here?
I think so.
So we're gonna answer yes or no? No. Should we start with?
No, you can't come in or look.
Start with this one?
No.
Oh, yeah,
This way or this way?
the other way.
No, you can't do that. Only yes or no?
Yes.
No.
Is there anything inside the envelope?
Yes.
Is the paperclip inside the envelope?
No.
No.
Yes or no?
Oh, no.
Start from the beginning.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Should the paperclip go
Yes.
in the envelope?
No.
In the middle?
Yes.
No.
No?
No.
Actually, I got
Yes,
really high paid in my
yes,
ears, so
yes.
I really have a problem.
Live.
Maybe I could
There we
fix it
go.
out.
You can only say yes or no.
Okay.
I can't answer that. Is it yes or no? It is? No. Yes. Yes.
I'll tell you when you get it.
Yes. No. No. What?
Does
Yes.
does the paperclip go any other way?
Yes.
Like, am I supposed to undend it? Am I supposed to?
And you can go back,
Yes.
if you need to go back and ask for
Oh.
clarification, you can.
Yeah, I think we're,
Yes.
we're getting further.
Yeah, that's about right. Well, yeah, that's about, yeah. Yeah. No? Oh, man. What happened?
It's gonna be, maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's on the other side. On this side.
Hold on, maybe the pen sticks out of the envelope. Yes or no? Does the pen stick out of the envelope? Yes or no? Maybe it depends on the outside.
Okay. The what? No. Yes.
Okay.
I see.
So the pen is still in the envelope? Yes.
The fifth of what?
And this is still on the right side?
Yeah.
No.
Is the paper supposed to go like this?
Mhm.
Does it close the envelope?
No?
Yes. Yes.
Is it closed, the envelope? Yes or no?
No.
Maybe does the envelope actually close and then
Yes.
like this?
Yeah.
I feel like I gotta try the.
Wait, does the pen? The pen?
No.
No. Yes.
Okay, so, all right, Corey, can you come through the yes or no? Because I don't know if he heard.
Yeah,
No,
I
you
don't
can't
feel
do the
good.
yes or
Mm.
no.
Oh, you're
He
good?
doesn't feel good.
Oh my gosh,
And his ear is red.
Yeah,
It's like really red.
okay.
I feel good, yeah.
Do you need, yeah, whatever you need to do,
I
need to sit down.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, phone.
Yeah, you see, it's like really red.
Oh gosh. Let me know if I can do anything.
It's like ear infected.
Yeah.
I think you've got enough out of it.
Yes.
Okay.
You had some good communi, yeah, you had an injury during this
Injury during
exercise.
this.
Yeah.
So-
We went by automation.
Does it go on the outside? Yes.
Can one of us go?
No.
Yeah, let him go.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right, yeah,
We have
you're the new,
that.
you're the new hallway
Alright,
person.
stand it.
Rephrase that question.
With an injury, in-class injury.
Yes. Yes. No. Yes. Yes.
No, it's not.
Yes.
What's his name? Zachary.
Professor. Yeah.
Williams?
You talk that loud, by the way.
Oh.
But close. Yeah, close.
What do you mean? You can't say that out loud.
She had it closed. She's gonna be open and leave it closed.
Is this correct?
Yes, that's
No, I don't.
Yes, you
No,
do. Yes, you do,
yeah, I
though.
don't.
Yes, you do.
All right,
We was so loud right now.
I can put a promise on whatever you want me to put a promise on. I didn't hear that.
Right. Take your word for it.
And you could see them.
That was hard though, right?
Yeah.
I was just, I know.
Is the envelope supposed to be closed? Yes, that's supposed to be.
Yes, yes.
Does it go on the bottom?
No. 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 Yeah.
Yes, good job. You know what, I heard Maxine explaining this to you, and she said inside flap, and I thought, ooh, I think she's being unclear about that. Did you know she meant right here, or did you think she meant right here?
No, I thought you meant there.
Okay, good, I guess I didn't see. I guess I didn't see that, but good job.
Yeah.
Excellent, let's debrief that really quick. You guys were patient, sometimes classes just get so frustrated about this.
It
Oh,
was frustrating.
But
I was frustrated.
all right, well, how can this help us from a communication standpoint?
It's hard.
What was frustrating about it? What were some of the
Because
points?
you couldn't tell me where you have to go.
Okay.
And everywhere I said it was.
Yeah, I find it really interesting takeaways is the person who can only say yes or no, it's like they feel limited, and they feel frustrated that way. But the other thing that this, and that brings up some emotional intelligence issues in and of itself. I think the other thing that is interesting about this is that we all have our own worldview. Right, the way I'm explaining something seems perfectly clear to me, but the way someone's interpreting it is not clear. And I thought we had a moment when you were explaining the envelope to him. I got really excited. I'm like, ooh, she's saying inside flap. Does he know what she means by inside flap? Maybe, maybe not. And I think that's the value in this particular exercise. In addition to being a good communication challenge, it's differing world views, differing perceptions. When I say something, you don't take it the same way. My intention is different than the impact that it has. Any closing comments before we move on? Okay, good. You okay, Fatty? Do you need anything?
I don't feel good.
All right, well, whatever you need. Okay, so this next exercise, I forget what it's called traffic jam. Yes, okay, so as you can see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. We'll have 6 of you play, and Fatty will just kind of watch and observe. So actually, let me have 3 people stand here, here, and here, facing this way. And let me have 3 people stand here, here. And you can, why don't you grab a seat right there, Matthew. Okay, and go ahead and stand right here. So, alright, so this team, or this group, you'll be facing this group, and the object is for everyone in this group to get on spaces, to get on those 3 spaces in the same order you are now, and everyone in this group to get on those 3 spaces in the same order you are in now. Here are the rules. You can step forward into a space, provided no one is on that space. You cannot step back. You can leapfrog one person, provided there is a space after them. So Amanda, if you were to step forward onto this space, Maxine could leapfrog you, and you could go to this space, and you could step on this space, go ahead and step on this space. Alright, but obviously she can't go forward, and then Amanda could go forward, and you will proceed in that fashion, but you just can't go back. Any questions? Okay, so Maxine, why don't you go ahead and back to square one.
So I have to go to the end, or I have to be where Maxine is?
You have to be where David is, and Letitia has to be where Orlando is, and Venetia has to be where Maxine is, and vice versa. Alright, you can talk during this exercise, say whatever you want, think about your strategy. You do need to stay on a space, except when you're walking around someone. So you can't like come out here and say, hey, do it this way, do it that way. You have to still be touching your space, and you can kind of lean from the back.
Are
Any
we
questions?
working? So we can only hop?
Yep,
We
you're
can only
working.
hop or go one space up?
You can, yeah, exactly. You can only go one space forward or
Hop.
hop one person. And you are working together, Letitia. Yes. All right. Begin the exercise.
Go ahead, Maxine.
Hop.
Over here.
You can hop.
Leapfrog.
Oh,
And then I
Yeah.
think, okay, wait,
So then,
wait, yeah, and then let Amanda leapfrog.
yeah.
No,
Well-
Amanda should step
You gotta go
up
forward.
one. You
Wait,
step
wait,
up
wait,
one.
where?
But he already
No.
stepped forward.
That's fine.
And I leapfrogged.
Yeah, but you.
Is there space
you
here?
got
Or that's
the
No,
same
there's no
speed.
space there.
oh, no space, you have to be on the island.
You gotta
Oh,
be-
we're
Okay.
only allowed to be on the X's?
Yes,
That's
exactly.
what you're saying,
Exactly.
okay.
But
Exactly.
you're good there, you're good there.
Okay,
And then he
Okay.
goes first, now you leapfrog.
Yeah.
Right, then he can leapfrog. Wait,
Now we
wait.
know.
but now
Yeah,
me and David
no,
are
no, no.
there.
Alright, so they
Yeah,
got
so now I gotta move forward.
Oh, once
Right.
you move forward, yeah.
Wait.
You
Like
go.
now, oh yeah,
You go up one.
then I leapfrog, right?
I think we're gonna,
Yeah,
we're gonna
leapfrog.
get jammed here.
No, go ahead, leapfrog.
And then,
Wait, don't,
Then you.
then I have to go.
wait, no, I get jammed.
I don't
You
know.
get jammed until
Oh.
she moves.
Alright,
Yeah, no.
then you
Oh,
go.
yeah,
There you
Oh.
go.
need to come up, though.
Alright.
No,
We got
think we're
jammed,
jammed.
she got
Jammed.
jammed.
Close.
No, he should have.
Very close. Alright, so everyone except for Venetia? Okay, alright, so reset, try number 2.
Next time, you go first, you don't move.
Okay, so
Alright.
I'll start.
Alright. I can't go though. Amanda, wait, we doing
You
exactly
can
the same.
Go,
Go
if
back.
you go back.
You can't,
You
I
don't-
can't go back, can't go back.
Oh, you can't go back, sorry.
but you can wait after you go.
But we're doing exactly.
Alright, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna
Stop.
hop.
Don't do
No,
anything.
he's not moving up.
Don't move.
This is
You
what I
should
did.
move first.
Maxine
You
doesn't
should.
move.
And then I move up one. Then Maxie, you leave over
I think this
me.
got worse.
Okay,
Oh,
no.
yeah,
Oh yeah, now I go,
No,
no,
now you
Yeah,
can hop.
go.
You go here.
Now you
No,
can
no, no,
hop.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then he
I have to
hopped.
go.
Mhm.
Right.
I move up. Then Letitia goes.
But
She
we
hops.
Wait,
where?
Hold on,
Wait,
let me
wait,
have
wait,
a-
wait, 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 wait.
I
moved.
already did it.
Yeah.
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can.
I
She can
moved.
hop
We had
and
to
then
move
he
that,
can.
right.
Oh, no.
And then
Now I
move up
move.
one,
Move
move up.
up, now you hop.
Good job. Excellent. All right. So the good news is it only took you 2 tries. That was great teamwork, effective communication. The thing I will say though is this is usually the easier version I go to with 3 people. If they can't solve it with 4 people or can't solve it with 5 people, I'll go like, all right, fine, go down to 3 people. But you did a great job. People sometimes get frustrated during this. I've actually seen punches thrown
No.
during this exercise.
No.
Someone on the end, no one was listening to her, she just got frustrated. It's like, why aren't you listening to me? Do it my way. She like punches somebody on the arm. Good work. We don't need to belabor that too much unless anyone has any thoughts on that.
Teamwork makes the dream work, yeah.
Teamwork,
As long
dreamwork?
as everyone, explains or everyone is heard.
Yeah.
Steps were made.
Great job, alright, let me go ahead, what are we gonna do next? We're gonna do, yeah, go ahead and have a seat, we're gonna do it with the see it my way exercises. Where'd my clicker go?
Right there.
Oh, alright. Excellent. Alright, we're gonna do a couple what I call see it my way exercises. I'm gonna ask you some questions. You're gonna form an opinion on those questions. And then I'm gonna have you go through a process where you engage with each other and try to convince them that your way of thinking is the most accurate one. First question. Take a look at this graph. Hours of television viewed weekly by Americans. On the horizontal axis, we have number of hours viewed, 0, 1, 2, 3. On the vertical axis, we have the percentage of respondents who answered they watched that many hours, 0, 50 to 100%. So, the number of respondents who said they view 0 hours was 10%. The number of respondents who said they view 1 hour per week is 20%. The number of respondents who view 2 hours, 50%. 3 hours, 20%. Question for you all. Based on the data in this chart, how much TV does the average American watch per week? Please silently answer that question for yourself. Decide what you think the answer is, and we will share that in a moment. Does everyone have an answer? Does anyone need more time? Everyone has an answer? Okay, alright, what are the answers? Denisha?
I say, 2.
Okay, so 2, anybody else say 2? Anyone else say anything besides 2? Alright,
1 to 3.
you say 1 to 3? Alright, so I guess everyone get in a group and convince each other that your answer is right. Should we do that?
That should be
Everyone
easy.
agreed, no?
Everyone agrees? The answer is 2? Alright. Alright. How confident are you with this 2 hours per week is the right answer? Amanda, what would you say? 90% confident? 80% confident?
I would say 80%.
And what do you think, Letitia? 80, 90, 70?
I'm thinking there's a trick to this.
Yeah, me too.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to look at a different way to look at the graph. Cause it's obvious, 2 looks obvious.
What do you think, Maxine?
I'm 99.999.
The 2 is the correct answer?
Yeah, maybe estimated 2, but it's 2,
Okay.
1.8%.
Estimated 2. What do you think, David? Walk me through your rationale for thinking 2 is the right answer.
It should be a little less than 2, yeah, a little more than 2.
More than 2?
It should be a little more.
Like 2.1 or something?
Yeah.
So that's your answer? Is like a little more than 2?
Yeah.
Okay. So, in Orlando, what's your answer?
Well, I said 2, but I'm still trying to like analyze all this.
Okay. Okay, good. So we have 2 answers. All right. David thinks a little more than 2. The rest of you think Letitia?
Can we just not agree with this chart and say it's more than 3? Or we have to agree with the chart? Then I would say it's 3.
Okay, well,
I don't
Wait.
think 3 hours is.
we're assuming the data is correct.
Okay.
So someone who surveyed everyone, asked 1,000 respondents, and they all said these answers. One thing that's a little weird is you're gonna have to assume that no one said more than 3. I know that's a little weird, but for purposes of this exercise, assume that this data is correct. Okay, but we have 2 different answers. We have one person, David, says a little more than 2, and we have everyone else says a little less than 2. So why don't you all discuss, if you all can get David to agree with you and say that it's 2, use your good emotional intelligence skills to convince him that that's the right answer, then you win. If David can maybe convince at least one other person to join him and say the answer is a little bit more than 2, then he wins. Make sense? Alright, so take a couple minutes to see if we can get these 2 groups to decide.
I have a question. Why do you think, or how do you view the graph to think that it's more than 2?
So, you look, there's only 10% of the people think it's 0.
Uh-huh.
So, if you did the average, it'd be leaning more to this side, because 20% think it's 3. So if you're looking at it as a whole, it's gonna be leaning over 2.
But then they wouldn't have counted the 0% if it wasn't important, kind of. So you'd have to look at the whole thing.
You're kind of converting it to like a line graph?
Well, 90% of the people, 50 and then 50 at 2, 40, and then 40 is 1 and 3. So 90% of the whole population are between 1 and 3. Only 10% think it's 0.
Or only 10% watch 0 hours. Like 10% of the people said I watch 0
Yeah,
hours.
what you do.
Right. So, if 90% of the people are watching TV between 1 and 3 hours, then most of the people are leaning that way.
If you
But I
look,
don't think that you can put an average, if it's 0, 1, 2, 3 is the numbers, then if you did it, well, yeah,
Well, I feel like you're eliminating from the graph, because you're taking away the 0%. Yes, there's like 10% of people who don't watch TV at all, but it just seems that you're just taking them out of the equation altogether. There's still people that count towards the graph.
And so
How many
so
responded?
Venetia, you're including this 10%.
I'm
Yeah.
including that
And
10%
you're
because if
including,
it,
so what happens when you include this 10% in the average?
well, I think that I'm
It'll
looking
lower
at it
down
as
the
a,
average.
yeah.
It what?
It'll lower down the average of people who watch TV.
Okay, so what's your answer then?
I still don't have an answer, but I'm going with 2. I'm going with 50%. The average American watches
2.
about 2 hours of
But you
television.
just told me this will lower the average.
Yeah, she said if you was to include the 10% of people that don't watch television.
It would lower it below 2, above, below 3, below 1?
I think they just get the same. If you include it as a, I'm looking at it from like a bell curve type of thing.
if you average out, right, there's four groups of respondents, right? 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 3 is 6. If you try to do an average or a median, that would be 1 point, maybe 3, 1.4. My brain's not working right now, it's after 6. But you can just average it up to 2, because there is no 1.4.
Oh.
Well, you can average up to 2.
Round, you mean round out to 2?
Sorry, round it out, right, to 2. Even if you drop that 10% and say, okay, well, 90% divided into that 6, then it depends on how you go about looking at it. You can get 2, you can get more than 2.
So are we saying that someone could have chosen 2.5 hours and it's just being lumped into 2?
No. They chose 0, 1, 2, or 3. Everyone said that.
If you're picking 2, more than 2, are you counting that 10% people that say they watch no hours? Are you excluding them, or are they included in your average? When you initially said it's more than 2. It's if, that's
average?
if you,
If you
Exclude them.
include, no, if you include the 10%, the average would be 2.5.
You
I
exclude.
believe, yeah,
if you include.
if you include it, 2.5. I don't know, am I wrong? Am I wrong?
If you don't include it, then it's less than one. Plus three. Oh, it's three. But they were saying that he would take out the 10% in general, he was only including the 90%
I mean,
that actually.
I'm just saying that 90% of the people watch TV. And of the 90%, they watch between 1 and 3 hours. But if you average it all, it would be over 2. It's two different statements, but the first statement is that 90% of the people watch television. So that's your majority of people watch television, but in general, it should be more than 2 because the percentages are leaning up.
All right, and let me interject, I hear a bunch of interesting things going on. The correct answer is not 2. That's number 1. And number 2, I've heard everyone make, all the components you need to solve the problem, I've heard stated. I've heard someone say each of the steps you need to get the correct answer. So see if you can work together and figure out the correct answer.
How did you go about it to get an actual number?
Well, no. This might be completely wrong, but if we took out the 10% and we added the other 3, which is 90%, divided by the 3 options, which would be 3, I don't know. I was trying to make logic of it.
That's what I said, why you do percentage instead of the number of hours?
Yeah, here's number 9.
1, 2, 3, 6, 2. And he said that's right. So it would be,
Because you can't do 6, because it's either 1 hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours, it's not, you can't do 6 hours.
That's how you come up with an average though. You add it up and
And let me give you,
Anytime you get an average, it's adding the
Is it
total
less than 2?
and then dividing
let me
it by
give
the
you
number of
another
options.
hint.
Right,
But
Because the
I'm just
percentage
not
of respondents
sure
only
how
at
to
50?
look at that to know, because usually you would know it's 1,000 people, so then you divide it out by the 3, divided by the 5.
that's it. I think that's it.
Is 1,000 our real number, or no?
is what?
What, where's 1,000? No, saying that's it. No, you add up all these numbers here, right? And then you have 4 options divided by that. That would be the 1 point.
So that was what, that's what the 80%
I'm looking at options as 10%, 20%, 50%, that option of, or those cubbies of people. That's the options for me, the 4 options. 0 hours, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour.
so then it would be 2.5. If it was only the 90, then it would be 3.
Okay, what?
If we include the 10%, it's 2.5. If we exclude the 10%, it's 3.
So it's 2.5.
Tell them, Orlando. All right, the 3 things I heard that are important to solve to getting the right answer. So if you eliminate the 10%, like with nobody, if this were say 25 and 25, then the average would be 2, all right? Because you would have at 2, you would have most people, and then on either side would be identical bell curves. So you could look at this and say the average. But because 10% said 0, we have to include that. And that's what David said initially, that was the first step. You have to include the 10%. You can't just ignore the 10%. But what happens when you include the 10%, Orlando?
To lower down the average.
The average gets lower than 2. And the third step is Maxine literally knew how to do the math. She just said, oh, my brain's not working right now.
That was everybody's cue to jump in.
She's like, it's like 1.4 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And the correct answer is 1.8.
Woo.
So you would, the 10% mathematically, you would include that, and it would come out to 1.8.
Which rounds up to 2.
Yeah, that's another thing, you said average is up to 2,
I meant,
and
I gave my disclaimer earlier.
2, I mean, seriously? I mean, 1.8 averages up to 2?
Rounds
Means greater
Is
than
that-
five.
Maxine, I gotta say no, that's, you go to get your MBA at Fordham, 1.8 rounds up to 2. You're here at Mercy College, 1.8 is 1.8. Okay, so mathematically, it averages out to, you know, it's 1.8. Some interesting things that happen, usually there'll be one person who has the right answer, and then everyone else will just say, oh no, the answer's 2 because of this, because of that, and that one person sometimes has trouble convincing everybody that 2 is not the right answer. That's something that I see a lot, but I really liked what happened, and that's why I wanted to steer it in that direction, because I heard the 3 of you say the key points, except David, you were thinking it got a little bit higher, Orlando could have corrected you and said it gets a little bit lower, and Maxine could have used the exact math to get to 1.8. So a little different than when I normally run that exercise, but I think that was good listening skills, good social management, emotional intelligence. Let's try another one. This has no specific right answer, more of a qualitative judgment type question. I got this idea when I was watching the Republican presidential debates, so I gathered some data to try to get you all to make a moral assessment on what would have happened or what should have happened with some of Donald Trump's dealings. I'm going to give you this information about one of his bankruptcies, and I'm going to ask you to make a decision about your opinion. So first, let me just read the information to you. Starting with this deal in 1991, Trump Taj Mahal entered Chapter 11 bankruptcy with an estimated $1.4 billion in debt. Now, this back in 91, 900 million of that Donald Trump had personally guaranteed. So he goes bankrupt with his Trump Taj Mahal in 1991 for $1.4 billion, and $900 million he signs his name and says, I personally guarantee it. According to the Washington Post, although Trump owned hotels, skyscrapers, casinos, and an airline, his debts, i.e. the 900 million, exceeded the value of his properties by hundreds of millions of dollars. Trump could have been taken to personal bankruptcy court, and he would have likely lost all of his wealth. However, for the Trump Taj Mahal and other properties, the creditors had lent Trump so much money, $1.3 billion total, that if Trump went bankrupt, the banks that had lent him the money may have gone bankrupt as well. So, Trump convinced his creditors to lower his personal debts by $750 million and lower the interest rates on outstanding debts to a level that Trump Taj Mahal could afford to pay. As a result, Trump was able to avoid personal bankruptcy court, and Trump Taj Mahal remained open and continued to pay its debts. Is everyone with me so far? You understand how this happened? So, 1991, Donald Trump, his Trump Taj Mahal entered bankruptcy. He had a personal liability of $900 billion. He could have lost everything if he'd gone to personal bankruptcy court, but his creditors had lent him so much money that they said, if you go bankrupt, we go bankrupt, so we're going to let you convince us to lower your personal debt by $750 million. And of course, we know Donald Trump did not go to personal bankruptcy court and continue to make money. Question I have for you. Should Donald Trump have been made to face personal bankruptcy court in this situation? So think that over for yourself for a minute. Should Donald Trump have been made to face personal bankruptcy court? Take a minute to come up with your answer. No question?
Yeah, so he was willing to pay back 900 million?
No. He convinced them to lower his debt
To
by
sell-
750 to 150 million. They forgave 750 million of his personal debt. All right, does everyone have an answer? Raise your hand if you do not have an answer.
The debts part, is that the remaining net debt, where,
Which part?
continue to pay its debt?
Yeah, they continue to pay?
That's not, that's the 900 minus the 750? million?
One
Something like that?
point four minus 750.
So the total debt was 900 million, right?
No,
No, total debt.
1.4.
Okay, 1.4 million.
1.4, and other projects 3.4. So I guess they continued, I guess they forgave, I'm not sure exactly, I guess they forgave 750 million? Yeah, they just said, I guess forget about that 750 million, you don't have to pay us, just keep paying us the 3.4 billion total. I guess it would be a little bit lower. I guess that's it, maybe either they transferred that to the whole, maybe they said, you don't owe us that personally, we'll say Trump Taj Mahal owes us that. I don't know, I never thought exactly what that is, but the main question is, if I have for you, is they could have kept him personally on the hook for 900 million. But they said, we're not gonna do that, we're gonna keep you on the hook for 150 million, and not take you to bankruptcy court. Is that the right thing to do?
It depends.
Okay, alright, so if you think yes, he should have been made to go to personal bankruptcy court, raise your hand. If you think no, he should not have gone to personal bankruptcy court, please raise your hand. Okay, so let's, alright, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 no's and 1 it depends. Okay, so let's see if you 5 can convince Maxine to say no, he should not have gone to personal bankruptcy court. And see if Maxine can convince you to say it depends. So take a couple minutes, see if you can get Maxine on your side.
For personal reasons, I think you'd have to research a lot more than just the Taj Mahal. For this purpose, I guess we just look at this as his only business.
Well, you know what happened in 2008?
Well, yes, he
When
he
the
does
banks
have
go
a lot.
under, the economy goes under, so you don't want the banks to go bankrupt as well, because then the economy is gonna be affected. So I would say that you don't want him to go under, because if he goes under, the banks go under, and then that's gonna affect our homes, so.
Right, but if the economy's gonna go down, there's no guarantee that Trump is gonna make any money, so I should just cash out my chips now and get what I can get.
He's going to make money, but the interest rates against the loans is probably too high, where he has more debt than what he's making. Like, it just keeps on increasing, so I think by lowering that, it's gonna help his business be able to catch up.
And keep employing people at the same time.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm interested in my investments. Right, now, what if, I mean, I would possibly, yes, lower the interest rate and collect for the longevity of the contract or for our agreement, right? But on the flip side, the economy may not do so well, he might get that much business, and I could have lost out on that chunk of money that I could have gotten at that point
But now
versus we
it's
lost,
telling you you
long-term
might
loss.
have a chance to make that money. So if you wanna take him to bankruptcy court, you're completely under. You're completely never gonna get $1.
No, I
Because
would,
now he's completely done.
no, I can get something, so I'll get some of that 900 million right there.
No, that's 900 million of which Donald Trump has personally guaranteed, but it
Mhm.
doesn't mean that he's gonna actually give it to you. Because if he goes to bankruptcy court, he's gonna lose everything, so he's not gonna have it.
But
And
he's
his I don't know what his assets are, like, if his assets are, what it says? His debts exceed the value of his
Yeah.
properties by hundreds of
probably
millions
not
of
gonna pay
dollars,
anything.
so,
Yeah, but how much hundreds of millions?
I mean, yeah, of course, we don't have his financial statements in front of us to really know,
That's what I'm talking about.
but,
But then you
That's what I'm
gotta deal with the
talking
legal battle, you know, now you have to go against his lawyers, right? And he's got the best lawyers. So now you're gonna go, and it might take years before you can actually see any money, and probably won't see anything at the end of the day.
Because everything has to be divided up between not just you, but
Yeah, but everybody else.
everybody's debt.
Right, but he has plenty of assets there.
Yeah, but it says that his assets are, or his debt outweigh his assets.
Right, but if I take that asset and rename it and reconvert it to another business that I know will make money, I'll get that money back somewhere.
But what if it says that you might
Right.
go into bankruptcy also just because he went into, so.
That's what I'm talking about. It depends. It depends on what state you are in at that moment, It goes back
Taj
to,
Mahal
to,
and,
Jersey.
Nevada,
it's like,
right?
give me $1,000 now, you'll take it now, or?
Well, which one are you talking about? The one in
Taj Mahal.
Jersey
Oh,
or the one in
I thought it was the one in Nevada, I mean,
Huh?
or Vegas?
oh, the one talking about in,
New
AC.
Jersey,
the walk,
right?
oh, the boardwalk, yeah.
New Jersey.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Atlantic City?
Yeah.
I think that was the one in Jersey that went bankrupt.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
1991, Taj Mahal in
Oh.
Bangkok, in Atlantic City.
Didn't they close though?
No, they're still open.
One of them was gonna close, right?
Yeah,
summer?
but they
Wasn't
they
Taj
stopped
Mahal?
it. Yeah, but they didn't end up. They're still open
He
now.
sold
Is that
it.
a 91?
Yeah, they're paying
It's a
him to
91.
use the name.
Oh, he doesn't own it anymore?
No.
Trump, okay.
Alright, good, alright, so did anyone change their mind in the course of that discussion? Or do we still have 1 depends and 5 no's? Okay, alright. Any thoughts on why no one changed their mind, or maybe different conversation strategies you could have used to get someone to change their mind?
I can see where Maxine was heading because you kind of need more than what was just presented to make a formal decision on whether should this person use it or it's just corporate or not.
Yeah, I would say your arguments to try to convince Maxine to change her mind were very, very good. And a mistake a lot of people make is they don't understand why the person is stating their case. And you clearly understood that, okay, this is the reason, we understand where you're coming from, Maxine, but exceeds the value of his, whatever by hundreds of millions. And you got her to say, oh yeah, well, it depends, I would need more information. And I think we clearly can't go too much further than that. Once Maxine said I need more information, that's fair. But what was impressive about the way you approached that conversation is you got in her mindset. And you said, we understand what you're saying, and this is why we think it makes more sense. I would say good job. Sometimes this will bring out a lot of impassioned, bitter fights, where people don't realize that someone is saying you should go to bankruptcy court for a purely emotional reason. And they try to use rational logic to convince the person otherwise. Alright, great. Let's see what I got next. I think we're gonna move on to some conversation scenarios. Conversation scenarios. Alright, remember this question versus statements. Venetia, can you sum this up for us again? Orlando? David?
Basically, questions are less likely to make someone,
Trigger an emotional hijack.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
and
And then what's the intention versus impact for a couple people who maybe come in late, Venetia?
people remember the impact, not the intention.
Yes, so we judge ourselves based on our intention. Other people judge us based on our impact. So let's think about those two things as we approach some of these conversation scenarios. Sometimes when I have a larger class, I'll have people break up in groups, but I think we can just do this as a class. We can go through these scenarios, we'll do a little role playing, we'll critique each other, and we'll think about, did you handle this conversation well from an emotional intelligence standpoint? Is that fun? And everyone's good, no one needs a break, right? We can just power through. Okay, so let's take a look at this first conversation scenario. Small group scenario. Okay, so I'm gonna read through this scenario for you, and then we're gonna have two people, one person play each role. We'll do a practice conversation and critique the emotional intelligence aspect of it. So, small group scenario 1. In your role, so you, being the person reading this, are going to be the VP of sales for a software company, and you oversee several district managers who themselves oversee 5 to 6 sales reps. So your job is a VP of sales, you have several district sales managers, and they oversee 5 to 6 sales reps themselves. One of your district managers, Pat, led a team that has performed very well over the last 2 years, but in the first quarter of 2015, sales in Pat's district have been surprisingly low. There have been personal conflicts between Pat and 2 of the sales reps that seem to be related to the low sales figures. Replacing or moving the sales reps would be difficult because of the personal relationships that they have with customers. Moving Pat to another district would be fairly easy. However, Pat has been a great district manager and you do not want Pat to feel blamed or punished, so you would like to resolve the personal conflicts and get the team back up to par. You need to talk with Pat. Alright, can I have a volunteer to play Pat? Alright, Orlando. Come on up, please. volunteer to play the VP of sales. Alright, Tisha. Alright, so we're gonna let you initiate this conversation with Pat. Approach it however you like. We'll take some notes, think about some critique maybe we can give you. I'm gonna motion to tell these.
Pick each other.
Whatever you want, Tisha, you can knock on the door or say whatever, or however you wanna approach it.
Hi Pat, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
I understand that your sales have went down this quarter. Do you know, have any reasons why it may have went down?
I don't know as of right now, we're still trying to figure it out. But we're definitely gonna improve it.
How do you plan on improving it?
Well, we're gonna go back to the basics, go back to the drawing board and see if the customers are still satisfied, see if people still wanna purchase this software. And do a little bit more research to make sure that the following quarter is an improvement.
Do you have any direct reasons on anyone you can say that is the reason why it's gone down? Like, can you pinpoint which of the sales reps has been doing the lowest?
I could pinpoint which sales rep is doing the lowest, but as of right now, I feel more it's like a market issue rather than just a sales rep.
I like that.
Okay.
Oh, you can conclude the conversation whenever you're ready to.
Quick question. I'm Pat, so she's trying to remove me from like my office, right?
I'm
So
trying
she
to
should be,
figure out what should we do, right?
well,
Yeah, you're trying to solve this problem that was presented to you. And when you feel this conversation has solved the problem, or you're done with the conversation because it's not going anywhere, or for whatever reason you want to end the conversation, you can say, all right, I'm leaving.
Oh, so I could give him an ultimatum?
You could,
Okay.
you absolutely could. You could fire him right now if you want.
So if I asked you to pick 2 people, would you be able to do that?
pick 2 sales representatives, that's not up to par.
Yes.
I can pick 2, yes.
Would you be okay with firing them, or would you wanna personally work with them to bring them up to par, and how would you do that?
I would rather work with them. I understand that all the sales rep has families and a lot of people depend on them. And I'm very sure by next quarter, the sales will be up.
And how, are you sure? Could we say that your relationship between the employees and yourself is one of the problems?
No, I think that we carry ourselves very professional and our statuses, our relationship with each other isn't the problem. I feel more, the market is more of an issue, but I'm guaranteeing next quarter will definitely be up and you will be satisfied, and by next quarter, we'll be here in this same office. You'll be actually congratulating me, telling me how great we all did.
But if the market is the problem, there's no way you can guarantee that next quarter it will be up to par.
Well, next quarter, as you know, we have the different software program that's gonna come out, and it should definitely be an eye-opener for everyone out there.
I'm thinking about moving you to another district. How does that sound?
Why me?
Because that's a good question. I think I'm satisfied with what you said. It would be easier for me to move you to another district instead
Got
of
it.
firing the other 2 people.
I guess it will be easier.
Yeah.
So,
I I think I'm satisfied.
You know what, I'm just
Okay.
gonna leave. Just grab my stuff and go.
Alright, good, stay there for a minute. Alright, let's give some feedback to, we'll focus on how Pat, not Pat, but how the VP of Sales approached this conversation, and what worked, was effective, what might she have done differently.
I like that she asks a lot of questions to try to pinpoint the issue. A lot would assume, well, some managers would assume that, it's this and go straight for the gun.
Mm.
She's trying to find out what the issue is, how they can make it better, and if she should move that.
Okay, what are your thoughts on that, Maxine?
Her approach was good, but I believe that as the VP of sales and him being directly under you over him, it could have been more of a collaborative approach. Okay, what do we need to do? What do we need to evaluate? As opposed to having him pick out some sales rep and have him throw him under the bus, or move him to another location. If he says like a marketing type strategy, okay, then we're all sales. What do we need to do? Can we change that direction?
Yeah, I think there's interesting, so there were questions that Letitia was asking at the beginning, to Venetia's point, but I feel like she was getting at something specifically, and she got to it eventually, that, there's 2 sales reps who are underperforming, can you pick them, and I might have to move you. So in my mind, it was almost like she was asking questions, but they were loaded questions. There were questions she clearly had an agenda, and then she got to that agenda. So I'd say both of those things were not ideal. Walking in with a clear agenda is not a great idea, and then getting right to the agenda is not a great idea. And I like Maxine's thought that let's make this true questions. Like, if you ask questions, yes, they're less likely to trigger an emotional hijack, but you want them to be true questions. You might have even said, so I understand there's a couple sales reps who aren't performing well. I want to ask you, as the district manager, with the person with expertise, what can we do to solve that problem? Any other thoughts? Unsaid reason. She started out with a statement, I understand sales went down. How did that make you feel when she
Got
just started?
scared.
Yeah. Boom, walks in your office, I understand sales are down.
What do you mean?
And then I think she followed up with, why are sales down?
Yeah.
So there was 2 examples of stuff that could freak you out. One, a clear statement, sales are down, and then the way she asked the question, tell me why sales are down, was not the soft kind of question that puts you on. Alright. Good, excellent. Alright, so let's have you 2 sit down. Let's try another scenario. Okay. You are a marketing director supervising 18 professionals and support staff. The nature of the work requires a collaborative environment where professionals give work direction to the support staff. Alright, so you've got professionals, and you've got 18 professionals, and then you've got support staff. You supervise everyone. As a professional on your team, Chris has started dating a person on the support staff. Although there's no policy prohibiting dating, several of the coworkers have complained about the 2 being too affectionate at work. Some also indicate there's preferential treatment for Chris's newfound love interest. You need to talk to Chris. Would someone like to play Chris for us? Someone like to play the marketing director? Alright, which one do you want, Amanda? Chris or the marketing director?
I was trying not to.
You're trying to hide?
I'll be the marketing director.
Okay, alright, so David will be Chris, Amanda will be the marketing director. So Amanda, you initiate and end the conversation however you feel is appropriate.
Hold on, put it back up so I
Oh,
can
sorry.
read it.
So you're the marketing director, you have 18 professionals like Chris/David. Everyone works together and the professionals give work direction to the support staff. Chris is now dating a support staff. There's no policy against it, but several people have complained they're too affectionate. And he seems to be giving preferential treatment to Chris,
Hey
or his
Chris.
newfound love interest.
Hi Chris, how you doing?
Oh,
I just wanted to talk to you about some chatter that's been going around.
I've been hearing that you're now dating somebody, in the support crew, is that true?
That might be true.
I don't wanna be in your personal business, and I know that, that's something that's outside of work, but if it's affecting our team and our projects, then, it's something that I wanted to address with you. I know there's no policy as far as not dating somebody, on the team, and, if you guys found love, that's perfectly okay with me, but I just wanna make sure that you keep it outside of work. Like, I don't want you to, be using work hours to be talking or texting each other or, doing anything inappropriately, so. Is that okay? Like, could you just keep it off work hours?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I appreciate you talking to me about it. I don't think I did any of those things, and I'm not sure who, is making these accusations. Do you know who's making this accusation?
Well, I just can't really say who's making accusations. I just started noticing some chatter around the office that people were discussing the two of you. And I just want you, just to keep your professional, image and, not for anybody to be looking at you like you're giving somebody special treatment. So. I don't know. I'm done. Thank you, Chris.
Good. Comments for Amanda.
I think she was good. I think she
Yeah.
brought it up nicely. At the end, I felt like she was mad. I'm done. I felt like she was with it.
Okay, so I'm done, all right? I'm done, that was clear. I'm done. How about when David said that might be true? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So what do you think of that dynamic? Was that like a positive dynamic going on there? Was he on edge emotionally? Was he maybe in the middle of an emotional hijack?
Yeah, emotional hijack.
Yeah.
Yes, he said that might be true. Now, the interesting thing is after he said that, that's when she said, I don't want to get into your personal business, I know there's no policy against this, but what I wanted to make sure is this doesn't affect work.
Yeah.
Now, what if she had said that before she asked him, is that true?
He maybe would have reacted differently.
Yeah, she could have said, I've heard you may be dating someone, I don't want to get into your business, I know there's no policy against it, but I just want to be sure that this doesn't affect yada yada. And so, is it true that this is happening, and is there a way we can make sure that that plays out the way it should? Then I think he would have reacted more positively. Instead of saying that might be true, he said, oh yeah, I understand, I'm not about to get fired, I'm not necessarily in trouble, and sure, I'll admit it. The other note I have is this ended with a little bit of a Chris David saying, I don't think I did any of those things wrong. And what did you think about that? Was that a positive way for this to end, and could that have been avoided? Maxine?
It probably has been addressed, by letting him know that, well, it's making some of your coworkers very uncomfortable, so I know that it's happening. I think that was kind of a backpedal for him.
Oh, okay, a backpedal for David? Like he was backpedaling?
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't do any of those things, but that I have to acknowledge that it was making people uncomfortable, whatever I did. Okay. My thought on this is that it doesn't conclude with any statement that David did something wrong. There's no write-up, there's no action. So why make it feel that way? Because then there's a way we can not make it feel that way.
I don't think so, because everyone knows it's like a big no-no to date in work environments. Nobody really wants to admit to it. I mean, unless where you're working is, yeah. But, yeah. No.
Okay. I mean, I just wondered if there's some way where this conversation could have been posed where David didn't react by saying, I don't think I did any of those things, and rather saying, you're right, I thank you, Amanda, for acknowledging that I didn't do anything wrong, but also that it's important that everyone feels comfortable. Any ideas? She could have approached it. Letitia?
Could she have given scenarios of where people felt like he was playing favoritism, so he knew that he really did something wrong?
I think that could have been useful because instead of saying specifically, this is something where someone felt there was favoritism going on, she listed off a bunch of scary things. She said affectionate, text messages, yada, 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 yada. So she lists all these things that David is gonna think, oh, that sounds really bad. And if he can at least say, I didn't do one of them, then he's gonna get defensive. So I think that would have been a great way to do it. So I know you didn't do anything wrong, but this is what happened. Preferential treatment in this particular scenario, let's work together to make sure that doesn't happen. Alright, good job, yeah. Good job. And this is all just good fodder for us to discuss. I'm not trying to criticize the way anyone approaches anything. Alright, this is a good one. Alright, hope you're feeling better. Alright, you are an office manager overseeing a department of 25 people. 2 of your employees separately came to you and complained about Jamie's unpleasant body odor and how difficult it is to work in the same area. You agreed to talk to Jamie. Alright, who would like to be Jamie?
Me.
Alright, Tanisha. Fantastic. Who would like to be the office manager?
You're gonna be the manager?
No, she's
No, Jamie.
Just Jamie. We
I
need
already rolled out.
an office manager. Alright, thank you, Maxine.
Oh, you did do this before.
I did. I always referred it to HR. I don't know. I just. Who are you? Jamie?
Jamie.
Hi, Jamie. How are you? I'm okay. I'm okay. Is everything all right with you lately? You're okay?
Yeah, you know, work is work, but everything's good.
Okay. Anything going on that you want to share? Like anything happening? You know, I noticed there's been some changes in the office with you, and just want to touch base and see if there's anything that you need to know I can help you with at home or anything else.
No, the part of my block, they shut the water off, so
Okay. So, I didn't want to come at you, to make us feel uncomfortable in any way. But we're in a small office, and the reason why I asked you to do different, anything's going on, because I noticed that a lot of people have been complaining, with how you smell. And I know that's not like you. That's why I wanted to ask you anything going on that maybe need to be addressed, so I can probably help you with, or I can actually have a discussion with the team and tell them to just there's something going on, or
I'm just telling you that, Con Ed came and they shut the water off. And it's been a couple of weeks now, so I'm waiting, my side of town, there's no reliable hotels.
Okay. So with that being said, you're a great employee, and I want my team to stay together.
So you're saying that my odor is smothering the team?
Yes, they're distracted. They're a bit distracted, and as I said, I want to keep my team together. So what I'm going to do is, since you're having issues at home with Con Ed and electricity and water, we'll be able to help you out with, you can expense a hotel close by to work.
Okay.
And,
Dodgeball.
right.
So there's a new condo.
Yeah, actually, there's a hotel that the company works with, and we're gonna, to have you stay there until the issue's resolved. But what I will need you to do, though, to kind of help compensate that, is to come a little bit earlier and leave just maybe an hour later, seeing that, we're gonna help each other here. Does that work? Otherwise, if it's going to cause issues with everyone working, there's going to be some performance issues either from majority of the team that's been having problems. So I don't want there to be issues with anyone's performance.
Okay. If you're helping me by paying for a hotel, but everyone else is complaining about my odor, why should I have to suffer coming early and later?
Well, we want to try to share that expense, but I want to keep you on the team. Because it's year one, and it's majority may rule. You understand where I'm coming from here?
Not really.
No. Okay. What are you not understanding?
I'm not understanding why I have to work. My hours have to be longer than everyone else's.
Okay. What do you suggest?
The same amount of hours.
and us to take on the expense of
That's
helping
if you are willing to.
There has to be some in between. Okay. No? No in between? All right, so then, unfortunately, Jamie, we may have to let you go if you're not willing to.
Strong.
I think I kind of went over the edge here. All right, so I'm done here. I don't know what to do with that.
Oh my God.
You fired her.
You're not going online.
Before you get to sign a disclaimer that you cannot mention the company or.
I don't,
I don't know how to address that type of a situation.
I'm glad we got that one on video. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Is it on video?
Yeah, it's on video. I don't think I've ever seen someone end a conversation by getting fired. I have some thoughts. Break it, but what happened there? Why did that end with her getting fired? It started off so well.
She wasn't willing to accommodate to the hours. But she
Okay.
felt like it was unfair, which is completely right. Like, she shouldn't have to work longer hours because companies are supposed to take on that. Well, they don't have to take on that expense, but you shouldn't offer it. There shouldn't be an ultimatum. I don't think I've ever had an ultimatum by the company paying for something that I'm gonna.
Yeah, alright. Good point. Good point. So it ended, that ultimatum got thrown in there. So I had a couple thoughts. It started off so well. You had it. Like you had the problem solved. And she even threw you a softball by saying, "Well, the water's shut off in my building." So you've got the issue, you don't have this, you know it's an issue and you know it's solvable and you solved it. And done. And then you threw in this little thing about her working extra hours.
I didn't say hours, I said a little bit earlier, coming a little bit earlier,
And
and
an
maybe
hour
an
later.
extra hour at the end
Yeah,
of the day.
a little bit earlier
So
and
I
an hour
didn't say-
later.
But it's not she's gonna get paid for the extra hour, I didn't say she was gonna get compensated for her extra time.
She may have gotten paid overtime.
Maybe, but she didn't, I said, what do you want, I gave her that open, but.
Okay, I mean, I think what happened is, and then she pushed back on that. And I might even suggest that you got a little nervous when she pushed back on that, and you got a little firmer in that stance. That's what it looked like to you that happened, that there was a slight emotional hijack on your part, like you went to emotional hijack, and you decided to stand your ground. And then that's where it went downhill. And I think, and we talked about last time that emotional hijacking compromises your ability to think rationally.
I don't think it's irrational, because the company doesn't have to sit through that expense. That was something that I was throwing out there. It's not something that we do to accommodate every employee that may be having some problem. Yeah, I mean, if I have a team of 25 and there's one, I mean, majority kind of, like my moneymakers are here.
And then you even said that we all have to share this expense,
Yeah.
but she's the only one who has to work extra hours.
I didn't say it was extra hours. I said a little bit earlier,
A little bit,
maybe
a little bit earlier and an hour later. I mean, and maybe you'll disagree with me, but what I'm getting at is I think like if you took a breath and thought about this, you realize that's kind of unfair for her to have to do.
You're right.
But I think in the heat of this conversation, it just went to the only conclusion is you're
No.
fired.
Bye.
I'm gonna pay guys.
And I think that was because of somewhat of an emotional hijack. What do you all think? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree.
So avoid, getting into those emotional hijacks where you lose your ability to take a breath and say, let me think about this. I think we went over some ways you can avoid this emotional hijack, the triple B method, you can look at the slides. Breathe, break the pattern, build context. So I think, break the pattern, she could have just taken time, let me think about this for a minute. There's no reason necessarily to resolve it right then. Like we have it pretty much resolved, let's just resolve it all the way after lunch. Let me take a minute to think about it. Alright.
It's funny you said that, because I actually was gonna break, and then something over here was like, no. that she has to go. I'm serious.
She has to be fired.
So, yeah.
Wow, all right, good work. I mean, I hope that was helpful for you. I think it really, that really.
Sorry.
Sorry for firing. All right, let's see, maybe we can do.
Oh my god.
It is. All right, let's try this one. All right, you are a payroll manager supervising 25 people. Your team works in close quarters with little physical separation between stations. Drew is one of your best performers, yet you've received complaints that Drew tends to sprinkle conversations with rather crude and vulgar references. This is not a team of saints, but some have complained that Drew is crossing the line. You need to talk with Drew. All right. Let's see, can I get a volunteer to play Drew? Letitia. And a volunteer to play the managing supervisor.
I don't want to know what's going to happen.
Good, and I think we've got a couple little housekeeping things to do. I need to explain what's happening next week. I need to go over the on-camera workshop, so that'll take maybe 10 minutes or so. So don't get too excited, but I think we'll wrap it up with the EQ after this one. So this is your last chance. Go for it, Dave.
How's it going, Drew? Your performance has really been great, as always. As you can see, we're working in a really tight workspaces here. Have you noticed how cramped it is working in the group lately?
Yeah.
So like we have a lot of new employees, a lot of employees that don't really know each other. We're really trying to bring that collaboration and have, more socially open communication with each other. Have you noticed that lately?
Yeah.
That people are like talking and it's easy to hear conversations. So one of the things that was brought up to me was that they overheard some comments being said on the floor, and they felt that some of the comments that were made were a little bit poor worded, and I wasn't sure if you were aware of these issues.
Yeah, I may have heard something.
Okay, so we just want to make sure that we're respectful to each other, and since we're working in such close quarters with each other, ears can hear everything. So we just want to make sure that we're respectful to people, and that when you're going to say something, just keep in mind what other people how they may perceive it, because you may have certain intention of what you're trying to say, but another person might hear it differently.
Can I ask you what?
Sure.
So why isn't the whole team here?
So the comments that I was told were actually directed at some of the comments that you had made, which is why I decided to bring you, just to kind of discuss with you. You're not being disciplined or anything like that. I just wanted to bring it to your attention and just say that since we are working in close quarters, that it's important to just be mindful of what words are said in the workplace.
Okay,
All right, thank you. I appreciate your time.
thank you.
All right, good comments for these two. Comments for David?
I think the way you handled that was really well. A little bit. Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, I think it was okay.
There were some very good things. Happened there? Anything you may have left ambiguous? Or anything you could have done that would have been more effective?
I just felt like it shouldn't have just been me and sleep.
Some things that David did is he kept it very positive, but he also kept it very vague. It was really unclear why Letitia was in his office. I think the closest he came was he said there are some things that were worded poorly. And I like you used intentions, are different than a good use of the lingo. But that was just kind of a positive thing as far as this conversation was concerned, that wasn't really clear what you were saying. So I think it was great, and they kept it positive, but you sacrificed clarity for being positive. And that's not what we wanna do with emotional intelligence stuff. We want to use emotional intelligence to be clear and effective and say things that ordinarily might upset someone, but because we have these skills, we can say it in a way that won't upset them. So I think Letitia needed a clear definition. And the other thought I had is at the beginning of this conversation, you asked a couple of questions which are good, but I think David asked too many questions without getting to the point. He said, have you noticed that the workspace is small? Have you heard anything? And Letitia just looked like she's getting more and more, yes, I know, no, I haven't, what, is this chair about to is there a trap door here? I don't know what's going on. So, I would say, although we do wanna ask questions as much as possible, that was a case where there were too many, too vague questions, which I think made Letitia nervous. Would you agree with that, Jamie?
Yeah.
Alright, any other thoughts?
I try to bring it, positive, like you're one of my best performers,
Yes.
That was we're in a post, space, we have new employees, have you noticed, all these new people that you don't necessarily know.
Yeah.
I was trying to set up kind of the
I thought that was fantastic.
viewpoint of, kind of almost like I'm on her side.
Oh yeah, I thought that was great. So you said, and you're one of our top performers, we work in cramped spaces, here's the issue. And I think that's the point where you should have just stated the issue.
Sure.
Instead of keeping it vague, because you're right, that was a fantastic start. It's true, she's one of your top performers. As long as it's true, you can definitely say it. Okay, great, why don't you have a seat? Fantastic work. So, alright, so we're going to briefly discuss next week, which is the on-camera workshop. I'm gonna go over roles and assign roles, make sure you know what you need to do to get prepared for that workshop. And you will do that for next week, and then you will do your emotional intelligence summary, which is your last assignment, which is due next week. I know a number of you were not here last week, and there's no video for class last week. So to get class participation points and to just get up to speed in terms of what you need to know to write the emotional intelligence summary, you should do a couple things. One, you should watch the video that's in the syllabus, the Daniel Goleman video. Two, you should pull up the slides which are on Blackboard, look at those slides. Three, you should come to class tonight, which you did, and try to get a sense of what emotional intelligence is. Or you should ask me or ask your classmates specific questions about emotional intelligence. And if you want to hang around a little bit, ask some questions about anything we went over today that's unclear, I can do that. Does that make sense? Yes.
The emotional worksheet, where's that?
That's under slides.
So this was due today?
Yeah, but you can turn it in later. Yeah.
He
So
emailed me, right before, I emailed him asking him where I could find it, and then he emailed it back. He told me where I could find it on the slide.
yeah, it's under
It's like the
slides.
last, right underneath the slide, because I first went there and I didn't see it, and then I
yes.
went back and I seen it, I was like, I don't know.
I put it up. I think Venetia reminded me to put it
Oh,
up.
okay, okay.
So
And the syllabus.
Oh, the videos in the syllabus.
yeah,
The YouTube video.
yeah, the videos and the syllabus under the. So, and if you wanna, it's in your syllabus, you can look on the printed syllabus, but you might want a soft copy of the syllabus, so you can just click on the link rather than typing in all of
Yeah.
that long thing. So the syllabus
Well,
is
you
on
guys
Black.
should just type in the title, I typed in the title.
Okay, perfect, perfect. And we want to do the emotional intelligence summary the same way we do the thesis subheading format. And remember, the key to the thesis subheading format is you have one thesis that is going to have 2 or 3 supporting points. A thesis might be emotional intelligence is useful in a business environment because it helps you diffuse conflict, stay less stressed, and get promotions. Those are not in parallel structure, I realize, but that's the type of thing you might have. And then you have 3 subheadings. Diffuse conflict, get less stressed, get promotions. And each of those subheadings would have a topic sentence, and they would have supporting sentences below that. And I've talked before about how I think this thesis subheading format works well for MBA students and works into your value statement, which is that you can take a touchy-feely type of thing, such as emotional intelligence, and explain clearly in one thesis statement why it has business value. You can also write an essay where I can immediately see what you're trying to say with that essay by looking at your thesis statement, looking at your subheadings in bold, quickly reading the title, skimming over it. Does that make sense? Okay, and I can stick around for, I would recommend you four, who were not here last week, we had a small class. If we want to talk a little bit about emotional intelligence, just the mechanics of how I presented it in class, I'd recommend you do that because there's a lot of moving parts to this exercise. Figuring out what it is, figuring out how to condense it down to a clear thesis statement, and then writing using the thesis subheading format. It's hopefully something that you'll be able to condense down that way, and I don't want you to get frustrated because you're tired, because you're caught up on a couple little details. But before I do that, let me just assign rules for the on-camera workshop. Has anyone looked at the on-camera stuff and thought about one of the things they might like to do? So for the on-camera workshop next week, we're going to talk about video conferencing. We'll talk about some ways that you can do that effectively from a communication standpoint. We'll talk about doing an on-camera interview. If you're ever called on professionally to do an interview, some tips, techniques to do that effectively. And then we will talk about press conferences. If you have to make a company announcement, you see someone else make a company announcement, you get them prepared for a press conference, some tips, tactics you can use for that. So with that, there are a couple different scenarios, and I want to get a volunteer for each scenario. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so we've got a video conference scenario. We also have an interview scenario, and you can practice your interview in front of class. David helped me figure out how to get the camera working on the screen and whatnot. Or you could do the press conference. Does anyone have a preference? Does anyone want to do, what's your preference?
The press conference, the one
Press
with BP, right?
You want to be, okay, you want to be Carl,
No, I don't wanna do the press.
you want to be a reporter?
Yes, please.
I
I'm
don't-
ready.
I don't think we're gonna, I don't know if we're gonna be able to get reporters in, because it's such a small class. Can you be Carl, would someone like to be
What is it?
It's he's the head of BP, the BP chairman.
That's to announce something bad.
Yeah, in 2012, there was a BP oil spill. You wanna be?
Yeah.
Okay, alright. So you will be the Carl Henrik Sandberg. You will be the reporter to ask her a bunch of tough questions. Okay, so that's fine.
I'm ready.
I thought it was gonna be this week, so, alright, let's do it.
Alright, so this is Letitia. And reporter 1 is Vanisha. Alright, does anyone want to do an on-camera interview? Might be a little extra work, but it's an opportunity. On-camera interview? So what you'll do, you'll make up an interview topic, you'll work with someone to interview you, and we'll do a practice interview on camera in class next week. No?
I'm not.
Okay,
I don't know which one to do.
so the rest of us will all
Would you be
do,
in the room?
see, the rest of us will,
No, I mean, you said on camera, so are we talking about that?
alright, so let's do,
We have to pick one of these and that's separate, or is that like extra credit, or
no,
what
that's,
does that mean?
it's,
Just like one of the
yeah, it's
things
just,
you could
it's
do.
your assignment for next week. Let's see, do you get extra points for them, or are they just class, I think they're just class participation. Oh no, you get 5 points for doing it. You get regular class participation next week, which is 5 points. And you get 5 points for volunteering for one of these things.
Um,
And Venetia and Letitia already volunteered for one. None of you volunteered for the on-camera workshop, which means you're all doing the video conference scenario. So what we need to do is assign roles. Right, we've got this, and you'll need to read this scenario.
well, all of the scenarios, or are we doing separate ones, like everyone?
No,
gets-
you're going to do the live-long annuity processing video conference scenario on page 10 of the syllabus. So you're gonna read the background, and we're gonna decide right now which role you will be playing. And then we're gonna set up a video conference, and if you're the VP of annuity processing, you're gonna say, oh, processing has to be faster. And then the salesperson is gonna say, well, you know, we need more sales, you're going too slow. And you're gonna try to solve this problem over video conferencing using some of the techniques that we'll talk about next week. Okay, so, VP of annuity processing sales. I think Orlando would make a great VP of annuity processing sales. Makes, okay, is that okay, Orlando?
Yeah.
Alright, head of annuity processing. I think David would make a great head of annuity processing. Unless, another thing we could do, no, never mind. Let's see, Maxine, did you have one of these roles you prefer? The project manager, the head of annuity sales, there's the VP of information technology,
I'll do IT.
the IT, alright, excellent. Maxine. And is that everyone? Amanda. Okay, Amanda, let me see, which one do I want you to do? So, yes. Okay. Okay, so Amanda, why don't you be the head of annuity sales? Okay, and then we'll have, or let's not do that, no, that's gonna be too hard. Okay, so Amanda, why don't you be the project manager? You be the project manager? Amanda. And then I will assign Gokay to the head of annuity sales.
What about the other one?
Is there another one?
Fuzzy, and then,
I'll have him be a
And,
reporter, probably. Fatih can be a reporter.
Oh,
Fatih.
okay, I know, it's the young lady.
Okay, oh, she got a job, and so I don't know if she's coming back, which is good. She got this really awesome job, so she may be sending some comments based on this video.
Okay.
So she'll critique your difficult conversations.
Congratulations.
Alright, great. So Orlando is the VP of Annuity Processing Sales. David is the head of Annuity Processing. Amanda is the project manager for online entry project. Gokay is the head of Annuity Sales. I'll send you an email. Maxine is the VP of Information Technology. Letitia is Carl Henrik Sandberg. And Fatih is one of the reporters, Venetia is the other one of the reporters. The other thing I need to ask you all is, Orlando, do you have a Skype account?
Probably.
Do you have a laptop? Okay, can you bring your laptop and does it have a camera on it?
Mhm.
Okay, so bring your laptop, make sure your Skype account is up to date.
Okay.
David, Amanda, do you two have Skype and or laptop?
Yeah.
I don't have a laptop.
Can you bring,
I
okay,
have a laptop.
on your phone, down here.
Or maybe the,
okay, so Amanda, so you can bring your laptop and make sure Skype is up to date.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, let me just make sure the Skype works on my laptop, and I'll will email that to you.
Skype, okay, and Maxine, can you do the same? Can you bring a laptop? Okay, Skype. Okay, great, so Orlando, you're gonna bring your Amanda, Orlando, and Maxine, you're gonna bring laptops and make sure Skype is up to date. I think that's everything. Any questions? Great work with the EQ stuff today. I hope you enjoyed those exercises. I will be around for a few minutes, and I'd be happy to clarify anything we went over last week, because my objective for your assignment that's due next week is not to make this frustrating. I want to make sure you have all the information you need to concisely write up this EQ report. So I'll be around and can answer questions if you want to stay for a couple minutes. Did y'all want to discuss or ask some questions?
Do you have last week's slides?
What's that?
Last week's slides.
They are on Blackboard. I don't have any extra copies with me. You'll see when you look at the slides, you'll see that I broke down emotional intelligence in these three components. Self-awareness, emotional management, social management. We looked at what you have if you have each of these. If you have self-awareness, you can understand emotional effects and how that may put you on edge emotionally. If you have emotional management skills, we talked about this idea of rational thought that I brought up earlier. That when you go into an emotional hijack, you lose rational thinking ability. And then social management is the way you can empathize and react with other people because you're self-aware and because you can manage your emotions. We talked about this idea of emotional hijack. So this is just the fight or flight response. You go into a panic, adrenaline starts pumping through your body. This is good if your life is in danger, but that's the only time it's good. It's not good if you're giving a presentation, it's not good if you're in the middle of performance review, it's not good if you're having a conversation with your sister who annoys you. Because it compromises your ability to think rationally, and you want to think about how you can avoid emotional hijack. So we went through this self-assessment type of worksheets, which are on Blackboard, which ask you to think about times you've gone into an emotional hijack in the past, what the trigger was for that, what the early warning signs were for that, and ask you to think about how can you broadly describe those categories of events. And maybe you'll see a trend. You'll see, gosh, every time I talk to my manager, I go into an emotional hijack. Every time someone threatens my financial stability, I go into an emotional hijack. Every time my big sister says I'm not mature, I go into an emotional hijack. So that understanding can help you think about what you should do, what positive actions you should take. And that worksheet just gives you a chance to think over some of those things. Yeah.
And we should take the about that comment assessment, and should we email you the results?
You can,
You're gonna respond according to what I said.
It's just for you, and it's only 10 questions. You can just do it quickly. Yeah. Were you high EQ or low EQ? You're high? Awesome. Good job. So, and in terms of putting this into the thesis subheading format, let's just think over what would be your thesis. Like what are the instructions specifically? I think it says. Motion colors, worksheets, whatever. Do you have this EQ? Oh yeah, emotional intelligence summary essay. Reflect on emotional intelligence discussed in class and write an essay about emotional intelligence and how it is useful for individuals who need to communicate effectively in a business environment. Please use the thesis subheading format framework discussed in class. So what might be your thesis for this short essay?
Emotional intelligence.
How does it help you communicate in a business environment?
It helps you be self-aware.
Emotional intelligence helps you be self-aware.
And
How's it have social management?
Yeah, some people actually just break it down the same way I broke it down in the slides. They say emotional intelligence helps you be more effective in a business environment by teaching you self-awareness, emotional management, and social management. Alright, so I just gave away the most common way people approach this essay. And you can do that, and your subheadings would be emotional self-awareness, emotional management, social management. And then you have a topic sentence for each one. The first one, self-awareness week. Emotional intelligence helps you with self-awareness, which allows you to identify what's going on in your emotions and how that may be affecting you. Emotional management. People who have emotional management maintain the ability to think rationally under pressure. Blah, blah, blah. Social management. People with social management skills can differentiate impact and intentions and communicate with people in a way that draws them to them. Yes, I definitely want you to have good essays for this last one. 'Cause this is like my reward, because it takes me so little time to grade your thesis subheading formatted papers by the time you do it 3 times. And I don't want this to be a frustrating experience for you either. Any questions? Alright. Email me if you have questions. Look forward to doing the on-camera workshop stuff with you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have one question, but I don't know if it has to do with this. If emotional intelligence is such a big criteria in communicating in business place, how is it that so many people don't have it? They don't utilize it, but they're still successful? Is that interesting?
How are so many unemotionally intelligent people successful?
Yeah, no, like Trump, for instance.
They said because it's not like something that is taught in school, it's something that is like learned over time, learning to communicate with people and, I don't know.
Because he
like-
only came by himself.
Does he have? Yeah. I've not done an emotional intelligence analysis of Donald Trump, but we can do it. What
But
do
he
you think?
did talk about, in the video, he talked about like, Jack Welch and somebody else,
Yeah.
and he said that Jack Welch, I don't know, the CEO
Of
of
GE.
GE.
And he changed,
And
is that right?
He changed, yeah.
Yes, he became more
He
emotionally
became
intelligent.
Yes,
more
yeah.
emotional intelligence, and then even though they laid off so many people, everyone recommended that company to work for. But
Yeah.
I don't know how it would be, like so many people are successful without it.
Because Donald Trump is an interesting one, though. So is he emotionally intelligent or not? I guess we need to decide that first.
I guess it depends on the audience.
I think sometimes, I think he's aware of what he says, like, I think he strategically thinks about it, and he's just blunt though, like, that's who he is.
Yeah, he's definitely in touch with the
Mhm.
anger that people are feeling,
Mm-hmm.
and he gives them, he acknowledges that. So there are aspects where he is emotionally intelligent.
He doesn't have any emotional filters.
Yes, he lacks some of his emotional management skills. Yeah, he has good social awareness, lack of emotional management skills. So he would be good at this status card game.
Yeah. Give one two every time.
All right,
Have
see
a
you
good
later.
night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.